Hello everybody! Today we are going to check out what's new in SuiteCRM 8.7. So the very first thing that's new in 8.7 is, you've seen this before already in 8.6, there is a pre-check of the system environment before installing your CRM system. And they've made it a little bit nicer, easier to look at. So I've tested around and I see just right after downloading, just when I want to start with the installation, that I get some issues here. So first of all, my permission checks. And as you can see, the log directory is not writable. So that's very interesting. It will tell you exactly what's wrong with your server environment. So whether you do a new, fresh installation or you do an upgrade, I advise you use this CRM system SuiteCRM 8.7 first and install it. Even if you do an upgrade, install it in a different folder on the same server environment and check out what this page tells you in case you would not do an upgrade but an installation. At least you've got some sense of what's your environment and how your environment will hold up to the expectations that SuiteCRM 8.7 has towards your server. So how to fix this? Of course, that depends on the error that you've got here. But in my case, I just need to enable the write access on the logs directory. So let's jump over to the command line and let's have a look at the situation there. So what you can see here, there's the logs folder. And actually, I've manipulated this, so I've actually removed the write access for the folder. So what I have to do with this, I just have to reverse it. So therefore, I'm going to use my... you don't have to do this, but it's a bit easier in my specific case. Let's put it like this. So I'm using sudo. You can log in as a root. You can do this as your normal user with sudo. And in this case, I want to execute it as the Apache or web server user. And I want to execute this command, chmod. And that changes with this one, I can change my permissions. And for the user, I want to grant write permission onto a specific folder, which is the logs folder. So I just have to execute this one. I can list my directory contents again. And as you can see now here, this directory has read, write, and execution access enabled. So therefore, we should be good to go, at least on the permissions. And I can click on recheck here. And as you can see, from red, it turned into orange or yellow. And why is it yellow? So here it would check my PHP installation and the loaded modules. And as you can see, I've got almost all them loaded, despite the LDAP, which is the single sign-on LDAP kind of thing. It's for the access that you can configure on a different system for your SuiteCRM. And new in this version is also that you can configure this now to make it work with your existing environments already. This one here is actually optional, as you can see, because if I'm not trying to use LDAP later on in my installation, I don't need it. That makes my PHP file a little bit smaller and therefore the server just slightly faster. Probably not possible to measure it, but at least it works. It works, or I would believe that it works. Let's put it like this. Okay, and now I can simply ignore the warnings and proceed, and we'll check out what's new inside SuiteCRM after the installation. So what else is new in SuiteCRM or around SuiteCRM? So let's first look into the around SuiteCRM. If you go to install a new language for your CRM system, you had those two links here on the documentation. One links to the SourceForge package and one links to the latest build ones, which you can basically then download. But if you're here on a language and you can't download this anymore, maybe you have to sign in or whatever and then download it before you are able to download the language pack. So the newest language pack will now be available from SourceForge. So here you see there's a new folder as well. So from 8.7, this happens to be here. And now you can download all the different languages which are available from SourceForge in the future. And therefore, go ahead and grab it from the new source. And then what's new in SuiteCRM itself? We've already seen the pre-installation page, and let's go through the details here. So first of all, there has been a platform upgrade of Symfony. If you are just a standard user or an admin and you did not integrate or do a lot of development on SuiteCRM, for you that means probably nothing at all. It just means like it's under the hood. There is some framework which this CRM system is based on, and this framework has been upgraded. This brings a couple of changes because you see it's always a bit scary to read about the API upgrades. And in this case, it's all within or packaged within SuiteCRM, so therefore you don't have to do anything if you did not custom develop anything in your CRM system or on top of your CRM system. If you're an admin, a server admin, this one becomes important now. So PHP 8.1, really, if you're still running on 7, upgrade to 8. 7 is not up to date anymore, and therefore here finally it will not work anymore. Just don't think about PHP 7 anymore. That's gone for good, and we've got PHP 8 now. I've got one system with 8.1, but the others are just upgraded to 8.3 usually, and everything is fine and fast, or 8.2 at least for SuiteCRM. So, and then there's like a composer. Again, if you're working in development, then you will figure your way around these things out. SAML configuration. So if you, again, similar to the LDAP, which I mentioned before earlier, you can authenticate against like an authentication server or identity provider as well. And there are some specific details which you can set up here now. And additionally, it's all very, very technical. So if you really need it, then you would be here anyway. And if you don't understand it, you don't need it at all, because it's just technically under the hood. So what happened other than that? Let's look into the new features that we have. So target convert. This is one which I was waiting for quite a long time. SuiteCRM has a bit of a different concept from many other CRM systems. There, usually your customer data journey starts with a lead module. Here, it can start with a targets module. And I've used this in SuiteCRM 7 frequently, but until now in SuiteCRM 8, it was just not possible to put it easily into your standard processes. That means if you have a target, and we're simply going to create one now, first 01, last 01. So now I've got a finished or completed target. And before, it was not possible to do the following. So let's say a target is someone who you reach out to or who you're planning to reach out to, but this person is not aware of you yet or did not contact you yet. If this person now calls you, for instance, you can convert the target, and that's new. So now you're converting it into leads, and as you can see, it takes my first name, last name that I just entered into targets and moves me over to the leads module. As you can see here now, the leads is active, and now I can save it. And I've got a new lead here. The targets, I don't need to work with it anymore now, because here of this one I've created a lead. And therefore that's all good, and I don't have to look into this anymore. So here I'm a bit lacking of a status, or like how does the process look like? How would I recognize on the target side now that I've already converted it, which you would see with a lead. So therefore it's a bit risky, but still it's good to finally have this here as well. Another neat thing which I'm going to show now is, or like which is going to be used often as well, is pagination, or like you flip through your leads. As you can see, we have these here where you can use the pagination and switch from page 1 to page 2. So now imagine you're searching for something very specific. For instance, everybody living in the USA, and you need to move them to the United States because you want to clean your data. I'm just having another example now because I didn't, just to show it, and I don't have USA and United States deviation inside my data. So I'm just imagine you're filtering everybody with some wrong field. So I'm filtering everybody now with an A. And now imagine everybody with the A starts with a B. A completely nonsense example, but it will prove the point easily. So I'm going into opening up this one here now. And as you can see, it were 15 records that my filter yielded. And now I can flip through those records easily. So I can simply change something here. For instance, the name is, or like whatever it's necessary, or change here, and I'm still, after the change, I'm still here, and I'm still able to flip over to the next one and easily switch through the records that my filter yielded. So very good. That helps a lot if you have to clean some data, if you have to update, if you have a new field, and for some specific records you need to add data now. So very good, very easy. That's quite appreciated. Neat feature to make SuiteCRM easier to work with in day-to-day business. The next thing is this one here. So action buttons on fields. And I can demonstrate it as well. So if we're going to a lead, and then you would have an action button on your website. So let's say you did something and this was wrong, it's not a website, so you simply click on clear and it would clear my website now. So my feedback from users who use this on a day-to-day basis in sales and marketing, they would usually say the less clicks the better. So I'm not the biggest fan of more buttons, of more clicking around. I would usually try to use the keyboard, and then if I really want to remove something, so here Control A, Control X, or Control A and then delete or something. So I would rather use the keyboard, and would suggest everybody working in sales with a lot of data entry and stuff, remember all the keyboard keys. It makes you the shortcuts, it makes your life so much easier. But there are some other neat functionalities which you can see somewhere here. So there are 3 options, which is a clear field action. We've just seen it. A copy field action, as I said, like for those two, I would hardly ever use it because I just use the keyboard. But if people just don't want to get used to the keyboard anymore, and then this is neat, you can build it in. One problem that becomes apparent is, or like unfortunately, it's not possible to configure it from the studio. You really need to go into the code, and it's fairly simple for those 2 things here. So you can just in your definitions add this one here, and then the key is to copy it and the other one is to delete it, and then you've got a little bit of a description here. And if you do this, don't forget your repair and rebuild afterwards from the admin menu, and then you will have this button available from wherever you have configured it. As I said, those 2 buttons, wait, let me go back. So for those 2, I would say very unnecessary if you fit with a keyboard. But look at this one here. So add backend calculation field action. So here you, for instance, want to say update. And imagine this is a little bit of a game changer here, because if you have a logic that needs to calculate something in one field based on 2 or 3 other fields or whatever, this is exactly what you can do with this field here. So either you're doing it via a workflow. The disadvantage here is people first have to store the record without entering or seeing anything, and then they need to look again whether the workflow correctly filled up the field. But if you want to do this whilst you're editing or entering data, and then this one is exactly the right one. Unfortunately, if you look at the code now, it's not that easy anymore, because first you need the calculate value backend and everything. And then after this one, you need to build up all the code logic inside your CRM. So you need to be kind of a developer in order to accomplish this one here, or be very lucky to copy around things. But I see this as quite valuable that this works here, and would be possible a need to set it up in some specific circumstances. But again, if I have to decide, do I want to employ a developer for doing this, or do I just want to do like a workflow from the admin, then I would usually say, like, let's do the workaround. Let's ask the admin to build up the workflow, and let's not hire an additional developer. If you have a developer anyway, and then of course that makes sense, then you're going deeper into customization, but it works nice and easy. Okay. So far for the new features inside SuiteCRM 8.7, I think the biggest feature upgrades, the biggest changes here are usually the framework under the hood. It took quite some time, so therefore, yes, the surface, the new features that you have in the front end, it's not as many bug fixes, are a few as well. But overall, it has been like a big rebuild, restructuring, and a big upgrade of the technology itself. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.